Hi everyone, and welcome to my presentation on the overview of the dissertation process. This presentation goes in hand with the presentation that's following, which also goes into more detail. So this is going to be a surface overview, and then your next presentation will go into more detail. So we're going to be going over the steps of the dissertation cycle, which starts with the comps, or if you're in the DBA, that's your final project, and then moves into the dissertation process, and then we're going to talk about final tips. One key thing to remember, and this is important, is the best dissertation is a done dissertation. You're going to hear this a lot, and the concept behind it is that you are going to want to make this dissertation great. You're going to want to do too much. You're going to want to study things in deeper detail than you need to in order to be finished. What you have to understand is your doctoral degree is dependent on this dissertation. Once you finish it and get it done, then you can go out and do these other studies or these deeper dives or the other things that you're interested in that come up along the process. The main thing is to keep your eyes on the end goal, and that end goal is having your dissertation done so you can say you're now currently a doctor. So essentially a dissertation, the one we're doing here, the typical dissertation is a 5-chapter dissertation. The first chapter is an introduction, the second chapter is a literature review, the third, methodology, 4 findings, and 5, the conclusion or a discussion. So that's the typical thing you're going to see in most dissertations out there. There are some novelty dissertations or dissertations formats that are different for different universities or different fields, but this is the standard that you're going to see most of the time when you're out there. So currently, this is the ideal dissertation process. You have 6 classes to go through. These are your 6 dissertation classes for a total of 18 credits. Now, this is similar to any doctoral program you're going to go through. There's going to be a required number of dissertation hours that you must complete in order to get your degree. This doesn't matter how fast or slow you're going. You have to complete all of these hours. The way we have it arranged is on the quarter system, so this means that the dissertation in an ideal world would be done in a year and a half. Now, does that mean you need to take a year and a half? No, you can do it faster, you can do it slower. The point is that you will move along quarter to quarter until you get close to being finished, and then you can start doubling up on classes if you need to in order to get it done. Though typically, dissertation takes about a year to a year and a half to get completely finished all the way to the end. So this is something that we've just designed into the program. Again, it is flexible. There's some very important people that you need to know. These are going to be a part of your life during the dissertation process. Your dissertation chair, that person is going to be assigned to you when you finish your comp exams. You're going to get your dissertation chair, you're going to go into the 694A, and you're going to start the process. You may feel that you want to work with a doctoral faculty member before then to ask questions to help develop your problem. You can always talk to a faculty member that you know. You can talk to your program director, so that would be Joel or Dr. Domingo or me or Dr. Luter or anybody else that you feel, Dr. Chow, that you feel could help you develop the problem. Once the problem is developed, you can then start thinking about more things connected to your dissertation, and that's what we're going to go over in this whole residency. Residency 1 really is covering the first 2 chapters to give you an idea of what you're going to be doing, but the main goal here is to start thinking about a problem statement. So your chair is officially working with you then at the beginning of the dissertation cycle. Again, this is similar in most universities. Your chair is assigned and you start working with them when you start your dissertation process. You're also going to get 2 committee members assigned. Those committee members are assigned after you complete your prospectus. We do that because we want to make sure that we get someone that can fill in your topic and your methodology and be a good match for you on those things. So we want you to develop that with your chair. Once it's developed and approved by the dissertation research director, then you can get your committee members assigned and you'll move on to your proposal stage. You're also going to need, you're also going to have the dean that's going to review your work. You're going to need to hire a professional editor at some point to edit the document. And your family, friends, other faculty members, people along the way will love to give you advice or to read chapters. Those are the people that are going to be essential to get you through it, to take you out for a drink, to distract you here and there, but also to help you to keep your eye on the prize, that final goal. So the first step in the research cycle is 694A, which is we loosely title that the prospectus phase. Honestly, most people are not getting the prospectus done within 1 quarter. It's taking a few quarters to develop these ideas, but once you get it developed, then it tends to move much faster. But ideally, you would have your prospectus finished by the end of the 1st quarter. 694A is where you actually start working with your chair to develop the 15-point tool that we'll discuss more at another point. And the chair is the one that is going to get you through to the point that once they are satisfied with your work, they'll send it to the dissertation director, and the dissertation director will do the final approval to make sure that you're in alignment. We're doing all this to make sure that when you do your dissertation, it's easy, it's fast, it gets done. Your committee, like I said, is going to be assigned after the prospectus. They'll get a copy to review, but they're not going to be able to give feedback on the prospectus. Instead, they'll give feedback that will then be integrated into your proposal. It's important to remember that each person that has approval time in your dissertation gets 2 weeks to look it over. As you are aware, you're busy, you have a full-time job, you're working, you have kids, family. Well, so do all the faculty members here. So the people who are working on dissertation committees do this in addition to their normal work. So they're going to need time to review things. So they're given 2 weeks to turn around anything that you submit. So just remember that. That kind of is part of the untold processes that students sometimes overlook. They think they can just write something and it's going to instantly be reviewed. It's not like that. People need time. It's a lot of thinking involved in it, a lot of looking at the way things are put together in order to help with that. 694B theoretically is the proposal IRB phase. Again, most people that I've seen so far are getting to this around C. So it's taken them a little bit longer to get through the proposal. The proposal is the complete first 3 chapters of your dissertation. Chapter 1, the introduction. Chapter 2, the literature review. And Chapter 3, the methodology. Everything needs to be written out in detail, just like it's going to be in the final document. So this needs to be a complete first 3 chapters. It needs to be perfect grammar, it needs to be edited properly, and your methodology section needs to read like a recipe to tell anybody reading the document what it is you're planning to do when you start your dissertation data collection. This is an iterative process. Your chair, your committee, your dissertation director, and the IRB are all going to have feedback for you along the way. The dissertation is nothing if not a group document that is created over and over and over again. You're going to get feedback from the committee, you're going to get feedback from your chair, and this feedback sometimes will clash. That's why we have the chair as your sole contact person. You're not going to be hearing from committee members on the side telling you, oh, I don't like this or I don't like that. Everything goes through the chair. The chair determines the direction that it needs to go, and then they give you that feedback so that you can get it worked into your document. Then the dissertation director will probably have feedback as well, and then the IRB is going to look at your processes for their human subjects, ethical considerations to make sure that we're protecting the subjects of your study. So that's all going to be part of this dissertation. It's all going to have feedback that's going to be connected to you. So just know it. It's part of it. It's the way it works. 694C is the part of the dissertation where you should theoretically have IRB approval and can begin your research. Now, the truth of the matter is this might not happen till D. It might not happen till E. You've got to get the proposal completely finished and approved, then go through IRB before you can start reaching out to participants and collecting your data. It's required. You cannot collect data of any type until IRB has approved your project. So that's a really important thing to note. When you do get IRB approval, though, you start collecting your data. Data collection can sometimes go very fast. Other times, if you're doing interviews, it may take a while because you may have to work with other people's schedules. So it could take you several months to get all of the interviews done and lined up. It just depends. I've seen people go through it really fast. I just had a student who finished her data collection in 2 months, and her analysis was finished pretty much soon after that, and she was ready to go. So it can be done very quickly if you're really focused on it. If you have a good receptive population that gets back to you quickly, it can be done fast. The same is true if you're doing a survey or quantitative research. You have to wait till you have your numbers high enough, and sometimes you'll have to send the survey link out several times to finally get someone to complete it. 694D is when you theoretically should be writing chapters 4 and 5. Again, this sometimes isn't going to happen till E. You can't start F until you have finished writing up everything and your committee has reviewed it. So E is the end. So it would be hoped in an ideal situation that by the time you get to D, you are writing up chapters 4 and 5. You work with your chair, and the committee members give you feedback on that as well. Again, subject to the 2-week turnaround. Now, then when you get to E is when you're going to be looking for the final dissertation approvals. Again, subject to you following this ideal schedule. The main idea behind this, though, is you cannot start F, which is the final class, the class that cues your graduation. You cannot start F until your committee has reviewed your dissertation at least once. They may want to review it several times, but the first time they review it, you can go into F. The approval process for the final dissertation is the chair, the committee, the dissertation director, and the dean. You can't defend your dissertation until the dean signs off on it. You can't start F until your committee is done looking at it for at least the first time. And during that time, during the 10 weeks that you're going to be in F, you're going to need to get the final dissertation ready. It's going to need to be edited by an editor. It's going to need to be signed off on by the dissertation director and signed off on by the dean. When all that happens, then you schedule your defense, and then when your defense is complete, you're told the next steps, which could be passing with revisions, could be passing without revisions, or it could be, of course, the dissertation doesn't pass. Now, that's very rare that that would ever happen. It would have to be a real breakdown in communication because the chair shouldn't let a dissertation go to the defense unless it is ready. And obviously, the dissertation director or the dean isn't going to sign off on a dissertation that is going to fail. So failing really isn't an option here. The question is how long do you stay in the 694E process? One of the things you'll be doing when you get to this final stage of your dissertation is you're going to be changing the wording in chapters 1 through 3 to past tense because now you will have done the study. You're going to be making sure that 80% of your scholarly references are within the last 5 years, past 5 years, which means if you were to defend in 2017, that would include 2016, 2015, 2014, 2013, and 2012. So if you defend in 2017, you can have 80% of your citations must be from 2012 onward to current time. If for some reason you took a long time to get your final revisions done and suddenly the calendar switches and you're in 2018, now all your 2012 references don't count anymore towards this 80%. So you want to make sure that you get the most up-to-date references that you can at every opportunity. Only use older references when it's an absolute must because it's information that you need to have in your dissertation. It's seminal work that you need to have. Otherwise, find some more recent scholars who have been talking about this subject and focus on their work. That document needs to be perfectly edited. Expect that you're going to have a professional edit this dissertation. There are a lot of things that you're going to want to work out. A dissertation can be 200 pages long, it's not going to be something that you're going to be able to look through and make edits on. You're going to need to get an editor to look at this, and it's just part of the cost of getting this dissertation done, and you're going to need to factor that in. We have some good recommendations for you of people that work very frugally for students. They could give a good student discount. When you get to the point that you're ready to defend and the dissertation director and the dean have given you the green light, then you are going to schedule your defense. Your oral defense will be a time where you're talking about your dissertation. You're basically relating your findings to your committee and to your readers. Readers are 2 extra people that are recruited from doctoral faculty here at CityU to read your work and make sure that you're not missing anything or that your committee hasn't missed something. Again, this is more just to give you an extra level of rigor to that dissertation so that when someone reviews the CityU dissertation, they're like, that's a good quality dissertation. Guests are welcome at the defense, but they leave after the presentation. You'll be asked questions about what you did and why you did it. And during that time, you also present your dissemination plan. The dissemination plan is basically just how are you going to disseminate your work? Are you going to go to a conference? Are you going to publish an article? What are you going to do to get this work out there? That's what this part of the presentation will be. Oh, hold on just a second. And the other thing is that you're gonna be submitting all of this to the shell too for 694F. Here's some notes just to expectations that we'll have. You've got to spend time on your dissertation. You can't just do it when you feel like it. Sometimes you have to force yourself to feel like it. It's part of the process. Remember that the dissertation is scholarly. You're not going to, it's not an opinion paper. We don't want to hear your opinion. We don't want to hear you giving advice. We don't want you to be being an activist. It is just a scholarly work where you're presenting research that you've done. It must be an APA format. And remember, your chair is there to help you develop this, but they are not writing it for you, and they're not your editor. So you need to always give your chair the best work you can. A chair will return to you a document that is full of mistakes and say, fix these mistakes, these grammar issues, fix these spelling issues, fix these sentence syntax issues, fix these first, and then I'll read the content. So you be prepared for that if you're not editing your work or getting it looked at. This is where family and friends can come in because sometimes they can read it. They may not understand completely what you're talking about, but they can see when you've made an error or when you're not being clear in what you're writing. In summary, the best dissertation is a done dissertation. Your committee is very important. The chair is the most important person in your life. Don't argue with your chair. It's not going to help you. If you have something that you disagree with that your chair has told you, if you can present your chair with data that suggests that what they're suggesting is not correct, then you can talk to them about that. But ultimately, the chair is the final arbitrator of what's going to be in the dissertation. So you need to make sure that you listen to what they're saying and respond. The quicker you respond, the faster you get your dissertation done. All of us here, though, at CityU are here to support you. So always remember you can ask for help from your program director, from me, from your professors. Anybody that you have contact with at CityU is going to be there to help you to get this done. We really want to make sure you have a good process. That's the end of my presentation. If you have questions, remember to go to the discussion board and ask those questions or email any of the faculty members at the residency to get the questions answered. Thank you.